How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another exciting video. In the last video, we implemented functionality for allowing a user to update their profile. And now in this video, we're going to see how we can allow a user to delete their account. And also one more thing we're going to do is see how we can protect a page so that a user has to be authenticated in order to see the page. And if they're not, they get redirected to the login page. So we're going to see how to do all of that in this section. All right, so first things first. Let me just run my server. So I'm going to navigate into backend, activate the virtual environment. Ooh. And then just run the server, just like always. And then just going to have another terminal open where I'm going to be in my front end. And from there, I could just build the project. So yeah, in this terminal, I'll just be right in here. All right, so for now, I'll close that up. And let's get started. So first things first, we're going to need to create an action creator and reducer to handle deleting a user account. So this I'm going to do in the auth.js file, and I also have to create some dispatch types for this. Let's make this nice and big, and then right below here, I'm going to create my two dispatch states for deleting an account. So I'll call these delete user. Yeah, that should be fine. Delete user success and delete user fail will be our dispatch states. Then I'm going to open up auth.js. And then from here, I'm going to work on the action creator for deleting a user account. So first, I need to bring in those two dispatch states. There we go. Then right at the bottom of this file, this is where I'm going to create that action creator. So export const, I'll call it delete account. This will be async dispatch. And let's get working on this. So we need some configuration. And the configuration is going to look just like this because we have to be authenticated to access this route. There we go. And then I'm going to have my try catch. And then this is where I'm going to do the API request. So now let's remind ourselves what the API endpoint is. So the root URL is accounts/, and then we want to do accounts/delete. And then that will hit our delete account view. And our delete account view is right here. And this is what's actually going to go ahead and delete the account by doing this user.objects.filter, where the ID is the user's ID, and then we're going to delete their account. And then also I noticed we're not using this variable, so we can also just have this like this. All right. So now that we know the URL endpoint, let's go ahead and create that request. So const response is await axios.delete, and then process.env. Let me also close that window. Then .react app API URL /account/delete. And then we have to pass the config and the body. There we go. And then also another thing I should have maybe noted. So if this response is successful, we're going to get this success object. Otherwise, we're going to get this error object. So then if response.data.success, if this exists, we know that it succeeded. So I'm going to dispatch. And then here we're going to dispatch the type of delete user success. And then if this didn't work, then we're going to do the fail case, which is this right here. So delete user fail. And then if anything else went wrong, we're also going to dispatch the fail. Oops. There we go. And then that should be good for our action creator. All right, so now let's go ahead and work on the reducer. So we're going to have some cases to handle when we delete a user account. So we're going to have delete user success, delete user fail, And then if we delete an account successfully, we're just going to have this is authenticated piece of state to be false. So that's pretty much the exact same as if we were to log out. So I'll just have the case right below here. So delete user success. And then if we fail, it's just going to return the state like this. So case delete user. Oop. There we go. So now we have our action creator, we have our reducers. So now let's go ahead and work on this. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead, open up the dashboard, and then in here we're gonna add a button to allow the user to delete their account. And now how our app is right now is that even if a user is not authenticated, they can access this dashboard, and that's something I don't want. So we're also gonna create a private route so that only authenticated users can access this dashboard. But first, I'll just quickly implement the button for deleting a user account. So import delete account is what we called our action creator, and this comes from actions auth. And then I'll bring it right up here. This is where I'm going to bring it into the component itself, and then I also have to bring in the function so that we can use it. I'll do this on separate lines and put it right above here. So just like this, now we can bring this in from our Redux store, and then we can bring it into our dashboard component like this. And now we just have to create a button. And I'll do that right below this form. So I'll have some kind of paragraph. I'll have a bit of margin at the top. And then this will say something like, click the button below to delete your user account. And then here I'm going to have an anchor tag. It's just going to say delete account. And then I'm just going to style it like one of the Bootstrap red buttons. So that's button danger. And that should be good. And then I'm going to have the href just be a shebang. And then I'm going to have an onClick, which is just going to call our action creator to delete the account. So just like that. So now we can actually delete the account. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to build this just to see where we're at so far. All right, that finished building. Let's make sure I'm not logged in. So right now, one of the issues we have is if I'm not logged in, I can easily just go to this dashboard page, which I don't want. And then also, maybe one thing I'm noticing is that some of the margins at the top here, like non-existent, so I might go ahead and fix that. And also with this paragraph here, it seems the margin didn't apply. So let's fix that up. Yeah, this should be empty -3. And maybe I could make it even bigger than that. Maybe I'll do like 5. And then also on these labels, I want to have a bit of margin top. I'll do like 3 on this one, 3 on this one, and then 3 on this one. And that should be good. And let's see if we can actually delete the account. Then afterwards, we're going to work on making the route private. So right here, I have Postman, and I'm just going to make a quick request to get the users. So right now, I have this user Billy, and let's try to delete that user. I'm going to click delete account, and we see that something here happened. And we actually got a delete user success that happened. So let's see if that account is here. And yeah, the account doesn't exist anymore. So that user actually got deleted. So yeah, this is where we made that delete request to accounts/delete. And then that was a delete request. And then in our action creator, we also made that delete request. All right, so we actually successfully deleted our user. All right, so now the next thing I want to do is make sure that this is private. So the way, actually before I make it private, also another thing that I'm kind of seeing. So this was something I did in the last video with this update profile where I made an asynchronous function, then I did update profile, and then I did this set profile updated so that I do a re-render. But actually, when I call this action creator and I update my profile, I'm going to change my Redux state. So this first name, last name, phone, city, and our Redux store are going to change, and therefore we're going to re-render this anyway. So by doing this, I'm just doing an unnecessary re-render. So actually what's better to do is just not have this. So yeah, this should be just like this, and then I don't need this state. With that little aside out of the way, let's also now work on creating the private route. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to create a higher order component. And then this higher order component is basically just going to return some JSX, which is going to be a route component. And then basically that route component's either going to load the component we want if we're authenticated, or it's going to redirect us. So basically with these higher order components, if they're returning a function, then you typically start with a lowercase, so something like this. But because this is going to be returning JSX, I'm going to start it with a capital because this is like a component that it's returning. And then here I can work on the higher order component. We're going to import React. I'm going to have private route, which is going to return some JSX, have a div for now. And then we're going to export default private route. All right, so one thing we need is our connect helper because we need to bring in that is authenticated piece of state. There we go. Let's wrap this in our connect helper. We're going to create our map state to props. And then this is going to be is authenticated, which is state.auth.is authenticated. And then just going to bring this into here. And then just going to have this be empty because we're not bringing in any functions into here. So now this is not going to be returning a div. It's going to be returning our route component. So I'm going to bring in route. And I'm also going to need redirect because we're going to redirect them if they are not authenticated. So this is from React router DOM. All right, so now this is going to be our route that we are returning. And this is also a self-closing tag. So I'm going to do it like this. And then within here, we're going to have some props. So I'm going to destructure. So we're going to have a component, which is going to be our component. We're going to have our is authenticated. And we're going to have this rest. So I'm going to explain these in a bit. So we're going to bring in this rest. And then also route has this render prop. And then this is going to kind of decide what to render here. So we're either going to render our component, which in this case is going to be our dashboard, or we're going to do a redirect to /login. So the way we can do that is we're going to have a arrow function here. We're going to have our props. We're going to check if is authenticated. So if this is true, so we're going to have a ternary expression. If this is true, then we're going to return the component, passing in those props, which we do like this. And then otherwise, we're going to have the redirect, which is going to go to /login. And then we're going to go into our app. And then we're going to bring in that private route. So import private route from higher order components, private route. And then this dashboard is going to use that private route component. So now let's take a look at how this works. So this private route is our higher order component. We're passing in these props. So we're passing exact, we're passing path equals / dashboard, and we're passing this component prop, which is equal to our dashboard component. And then in private route, here we see that component prop. So that component prop is this right here, which is going to be our dashboard component. So this is our dashboard component, which is going to be returned if we're authenticated. And then we also have this rest prop. So this is all the rest of the props. And then all the rest of the props would be things like this path is equal to / dashboard and this exact. So these are the extra sort of props or the rest of them. And these are all going to be passed into this route component. So this route component essentially is going to look something like exact path equals / dashboard. And then we're going to basically render our dashboard component. So component will be equal to dashboard with the props kind of. So this is essentially what we're doing. So hopefully that kind of clarifies how this higher order component works. So now with that, we have everything in place and we can kind of test things out. So let me do an npm run build. All right, so the project built. Gonna refresh. So right now we don't have that user Billy anymore, and we can confirm that by sending. And there we go. Billy no longer exists. So let's maybe log into another one of these accounts. So maybe let's log into Bob. All right, so we're logged into Bob. We see he has a profile. Let's also test out that change we made. So if I change this to Ottawa, let's say, and I update, we see that the placeholder is also Ottawa right now. And so basically because the Redux state changed, we re-rendered this. And then as for the spacing of everything, looks pretty good to me. And then we should also be able to delete our account. And there we go. We got a delete user success, which is what I expect to see. And if I do get users, we no longer have that user Bob. So if I try to log in with Bob, it doesn't work. And also if I navigate to / dashboard, there we go. We're redirected to the sign-in page because we are not authenticated. So we see that also our private route higher order component also works. So yeah, let's test out deleting a few more accounts. Why not? Let's also delete Thomas. So Thomas has no profile right now, so these fields are all empty. If I do something like Thomas, Smith, let's put some phone number. I'll do Toronto again. Oh, if I can spell Toronto. There we go. I'm gonna update. And there we go. We see all the placeholders are now updated with the values that they're supposed to have. And then I can also delete the account. And there we go. We dispatched a delete user success. So everything is in order. And also this account is now deleted. And we're left with only 3 other accounts now. All right, so everything now works how it should. And then the last thing that I guess you could do in this application is, let's say in this accounts, with this get users path, technically if you were to have this in an actual application, I probably wouldn't want to have a route like this available. I wouldn't want someone to just go into Postman and be able to see all the users that exist. So you could just, let's say, delete that. So that get users view. And then right in here, also you could remove that. So yeah, that's kind of like the only change I would make. So right now we have a functioning session authentication implemented in this app. So I hope you guys enjoyed this series. So it has now come to an end. Hopefully you guys aren't too sad that there aren't any more videos coming out on this series, but there will be tons of more exciting tutorials in the future that will come. So if you guys enjoyed this series and this video, make sure to leave this video a nice big like, subscribe to the channel if you like this content, hit that notification bell if you want to receive notifications when a new video comes out, and also hit those links in the description if you want to like the Facebook page, join the Facebook group, and that way you can personally get in touch with me if you have some kind of questions related to these tutorials or anything in general. So yeah, that will be everything, and I will see you guys in whatever series or video I make next. So see you then.